Hello and welcome to my booktube channel, Jack in the Book Stack, where I talk about a wide variety of book genres and the bookish lifestyle. And you are really gonna see what I mean by that in this May TBR. The wide variety of book genres and the bookish lifestyle, all right here in one video. And when I tell you, I've never been more excited to make a TBR video than this one that you're watching right now, I am not lying. That's because I have been curating this list for almost a year, and it has been a super fun project. Now, I am going to be reading only nautical books in May, and all sorts, from all genres. And when I mean nautical, I mean like anything to do with the ocean. That's what I'm focusing on. And the variety in this list really blows my mind. The reason I'm doing this is, well, I love a theme. And that's really what you're gonna see in a lot of my videos if you're new to this channel. I love to do like themed reading vlogs where I pick one theme but read from different genres. Like cults, for example, is one that I recently did. I read nonfiction, I read thrillers, I read horror, like all around cults. I love that. I love picking a theme and reading books all around that. Super fun. Makes me happy. It's one of those little joys in life. So for May, I am going on a cruise. I'm going on a 10-day cruise with, oh gosh, there's 8 of us. So it's gonna be a big group. And I'm the only one who has cruised before. So it's gonna be a new experience for everybody. And it made me think, I was kind of curious. I wanna hear from you in the comments down below if you have ever been on a cruise, or if you have not, if you would like to, or never want to try it. I'm just curious what everybody's opinion is on cruising as a vacation. I like it. It's okay. I could take it or leave it. I think I've done it. I was fortunate enough to go on several cruises, like with my mom growing up. And so now I want to experience other things. But the joy for me in this vacation is going to be seeing it through everybody else's eyes, if that makes sense. So I'm super excited about it, and I thought reading nautical books all month would just add to the whole atmosphere of this excitement. I have a lot of books to go through, and by no means do I expect myself to read all of these. I swear, this TBR is not a challenge to myself to like complete. I just want different options for the month. And so this is what I've come up with. The first recommendation is one that I first saw on the booktube channel for Murphy Napier. She did a video about nautical books, which was like cornerstone for me, like a value with what she recommended. There's like a couple in here in this stack from her. But this is the one that I picked up. This is The Republic of Pirates, being the true and surprising story of the Caribbean pirates and the man who brought them down. Well, I'm cruising to the Caribbean, so reading about pirates seems absolutely perfect. So I feel like I need to read this like either before or on the ship. I think that could be a lot of fun because I'll be in the Caribbean. Like, oh my gosh, so wild. This could be a great pirate story and really fit with the nautical theme. So thank you to Murphy Napier for that recommendation. She has also recommended Island of the Lost to me, which I'm on the wait list, like the list of holds through Libby to get the ebook for this. Island of the Lost, Murphy explained as it's a nonfiction of 2 shipwrecks on opposite ends of the same island. And they didn't know about each other. They didn't know there was another shipwreck on the other side. But what's interesting is how each of the groups dealt with the situation. One was successful, one was not. And I am so interested. Both are in these extremely unique circumstances at the same location, presumably similar resources, but it was how the people reacted that led one to be successful and one not to be. I'm dying to check this out. That sounds so cool. And like a shipwreck, come on, like on a cruise, it's perfect. Or not perfect, depending on your optimism levels. The next book on my May TBR was also a recommendation from a fellow booktuber. This one was recommended from Katrina Brown. The book is A Haunting in the Arctic. Katrina Brown read this in a reading vlog for like winter vibes, and she rated this one 5 stars. She was so enthusiastic about it, and I immediately added it to my TBR, and I just recently purchased this hardcover book because look at, I mean, isn't that foiling so pretty? And so what she prepared me for was difficult subject matter and content, I think there's on-page essay, so thank you to that review video because it prepared me. I have my expectations set for getting into this. She also prepared that it might be a little bit melancholy. Like, I get the impression the tone is going to be a little bit heavier. So I don't think I will read this on my vacation. I might read it when I get home, because like I want excitement kind of leading up to the vacation. This might kind of bum me out, but it still sounds really, really good. So we have a dual timeline. 1901, on board the Ormond, a whaling ship battling through the unforgiving North Sea, a woman awakes. Attacked and dragged there against her will, it's just her and the crew. And they're all owed something only she can give them. And then we cut to 1973, decades later, when the ship is found still drifting across the ocean and it's deserted. Just one body is left on board, his face and feet mutilated, his cabin locked from the inside. Everyone else has vanished. Now, as urban explorer Dominique travels into the near-permanent darkness of the northernmost tip of Iceland to the final resting place of the Ormond's wrecks, she's determined to uncover the ship's secrets. But she's not alone. Something is here with her, and it's seeking revenge. This really appealed to me to read, particularly in May, because it's not the sunny tropical environment that we think of with nautical settings. Being in this icy climate, I think, will be really horrific and a great contrast to the other things I'm reading. Additionally, I have been to Iceland and I loved it. This desert bookworm loved Iceland. It was difficult. I struggled, but I had such an adventure. It was a solo trip. I went by myself, really, really pushed my limits, but I enjoyed Iceland so much. So reading a book set in Iceland, although in different circumstances than I was in, really, really intrigues me, and I cannot wait to read this. In 2024, I made the goal for myself of reading 6 classics, and I might read more than 6. I just predetermined 6 classics I wanted to read in depth, annotate them, study them, really think about what I was reading, the themes, the writing style, what made these books classics. And I've done 2 so far. So for number 3, picking a nautical themed classic, I chose 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I will be doing a dedicated reading vlog for this. I will, hopefully, the plan is to read it and then post that video while I'm on vacation. So I'm still posting 2 videos a week while I am cruising the open sea. But this is one I'm super, super curious about. I feel like I've seen some movie adaptations of it, but they're all kind of like blending together. And I haven't even seen Titanic, which is interesting. That's a nautical movie I haven't seen, have no interest in seeing. But all these movies kind of blend together. So this is gonna be like the first time I'm experiencing this story, and I will definitely share it all with you. Next up, I want to read Into the Drowning Deep, which is a horror book, and I will be listening to this on audio through Libby. I don't know too much about it. I wanna say this is Killer Mermaids. I may be wrong, but with horror books in particular, I like to go into them extra super duper blind. So I don't know too much about this one. I don't have the physical book where I can like read the summary. So I'm gonna go into this blind and then judge it for what kind of nautical vibes it gives me, what kind of water vibes. Next up is another nonfiction, and it is The Wager. I don't know about you guys, but I saw this everywhere in real life. It was displayed all over Barnes & Noble as, I think it was the 2023 book of the year. This is a tale of shipwreck, mutiny, and murder. Again, great on a cruise. It's just boat nautical books. It just really nails the theme on the head. So really want to check this out. And obviously it's been everywhere, so it's highly recommended or heavily marketed. You never really know which is which. But I am looking forward to checking this out, and if I'm not interested, if it's too dry, which is always a possibility with nonfiction, I have no problem DNFing it. I don't have a dedicated reading vlog or anything for it. You know, I'm not pitching this very well, but I'm also not trying to, right? Like, I just want to say this is a book I'm interested in, but I have no pressure on myself. Nobody should feel pressured to read something they're not interested in. It almost makes me hesitant that it's been so heavily marketed, but I haven't seen it a lot on booktube, so it makes me a little bit nervous. But I mean, if I'm gonna try it at any point, May would be the time. Out of the entire stack of books that I have on my May Nautical TBR, A Ship of Bones and Teeth is the one that I am determined to read on the ship, on my vacation. That's because I believe this book is a spicy, retelling of The Little Mermaid with influence of Pirates of the Caribbean. That sounds like a great vacation read and really hits that theme that I'm looking for. But it sounds fun and spicy and just the perfect escape to accompany my vacation. I'm also thinking that listening to the audiobook for Red Seas Under Red Skies, book 2 in the Gentleman Bastards fantasy series will be great on this vacation. And this might be a little bit heavier in tone than that smut book that I was looking at. But what I like about this is book 1 had a lot of humor to it. The characters were really fun and con artist type plot, so I like their intelligence and their strategy. Love their banter, really cracked me up. So I think that while this might be like a more serious plot, it could still be really fun to read on the vacation. Part of Your World is from the Twisted Tale series. This is published by Disney. And what I really like about this series is they take the animated Disney films that we all know and love, and they pose a what if question, and then the book is around that. So this one is, what if Ariel never defeated Ursula? So if she married Prince Eric and Ariel stayed in the sea. And since it's published by Disney, there's no copyright infringement. Like, they can talk about those movies and the details, the characters, and everything as we know them. And it's so fascinating. I love this alternate ending to the Disney films, and some of them are actually really good. Some are kind of cheesy, but some of them have been really, really good. So I think, I mean, obviously, a Little Mermaid retelling really fits the nautical vibes I'm going for. Our Wives Under the Sea is an audiobook that I'm hoping to read in May as well. This is a horror book. It's relatively short. This is about a married couple, and the woman goes in a submarine and she's lost for a while. She comes home to her wife and she's not the same. And this is a literary horror, I believe, but I think the mystery is like what happened to her when she was stuck in the submarine, when she was lost at sea. And I think it could be really fascinating. I'm preparing myself for more of a focus on the emotions of maybe marriage and partnership and trauma rather than like a thrilling horror plot. I've heard it's a little bit weird. So those are my expectations going into it, and you know, it's interesting because with the nautical vibes, I don't think it takes place in the ocean. It seems like it's just the consequences when she gets home from being under the sea. So this might be stretching the nautical theme, but I say it counts, so I'm gonna give it a shot. Life of Pi was available on Kindle Unlimited, so I downloaded it to my device so I could pick it up if I wanted to this month. I know this was a popular movie, but I have not seen it. Pretty sure this is about a young man who is stranded at sea with a tiger. Like, they're on a raft. And I think it's a literary fiction, so I'm expecting more like introspective revelations rather than an adventure story, but I think adventure will play a huge aspect of like survival. So I could be off the mark on this one. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. If I pick this up, I just want to go into it. Well, obviously I'm not blind because I have expectations, but go into it with, you know, whatever and be surprised. Float Plan is a romance novel that I would love to listen to on audio. I believe this is a heavier one, heavier in tone, so I may listen to this when I get back from my vacation. But I believe this deals a lot with grief. Our main character lost her significant other, I believe, but she still wants to honor him and honor their relationship by sailing, by going on this dangerous sailing mission. And I think the person that is like helping her sail helps her rediscover love or something like that. It's my understanding of this book. Again, I'm not trying to pitch it to you because I don't know for sure what these are about, but this is the impression that I have and why I want to pick it up. I think that this will be a great emotional read and hopefully a good chemistry, like good romance, but out on the sea, sailing sounds really, really fun. Okay, so here's a really fun story for you. I had The Deep on my TBR for May. And this is a book that I was going to check out on audio from Libby. It is about killer mermaids, but it has a heavier context to it. So the mermaids originated from slaves that were thrown overboard to discard, but then they became mermaids and thrived. So Vengeful Mermaids, I guess. I've been wanting to read this for the longest time, and I was always planning on getting this on Libby. But when I was looking at Book Outlet, I saw they had The Deep available for sale, hardcover, and it was like $6. So I was like, I might as well buy this because I'm gonna read it anyways. And the cover with like the person under the sea is like very similar. Same title, similar setting with like creepy thing under the sea. It's not the same book. It's not the same book at all. So this one is my priority. I will definitely be listening to that audiobook because I want to know about the killer mermaids. That sounds fun. This one is a retelling about the Titanic. Someone or something must be haunting the ship. Between mysterious disappearances and sudden deaths, the guests of the Titanic have found themselves suspended in an eerie, unsettling twilight zone from the moment they set sail. Here's the thing. I don't like the Titanic. I haven't seen the movie, which I mentioned. I don't get the craze, the fascination with it. And I think mostly it's because I don't find entertainment in tragedy. And the sinking of the Titanic is just horrific. And all those people, like, knowing that they were going to drown or knowing they were going to freeze and, like, their final moments, I don't find that entertaining because it really happened. And so a horror retelling of it could be fun. It could be fun. I like the concept. Like, I was just talking about, like, a twisted tale with Disney, right? Like, I like the idea of alternate endings or, like, alternate explanations. But I've just never cared about the Titanic. So I will probably decide this month if I want to read this and give it a shot. And by the way, this has horrible ratings on GoodReads. It's ranked very, very low. I don't know if that plays into my desire to read it. But, well, I guess if I heard that if this was fabulous, I might prioritize it. But maybe in May I can decide, like, if I will actually give this a shot or if I will just get rid of it. Like, donate it, because I never intended to read this in the first place. But either way, I will be reading some version of The Deep. I also thought May would be a great time to tackle some of my Fairy Loot Illumicrate special editions, and I have one that's nautical themed. I haven't even unwrapped Voyage of the Dam. It's still in its, like, plastic casing, but maybe I'll unwrap it. Maybe I'll read it this month. This is a standalone fantasy, which really, really appeals to me. And it says, let's see, we can get murdered tomorrow, tonight we party. Okay. I mean, I haven't heard if, like, reviews of this, like, if people have enjoyed it or not, but I own it. And it's beautiful. Like, I don't want to get rid of it, so I might as well open her up and try and read it in May. Definitely before my cruise, I have to read this little book that I have on mermaids. I think the knowledge I got from this book could be really fun to share with some of the other people that I'm traveling with. Some of the myths, legends, and lore around mermaids. See if we can find one. I picked this up in February. I went out with a couple friends for Galentine's Day. They even, like, signed my book. So it's a very sentimental book. I really want to read it. And reading about mermaids in my nautical theme month, well, I'm already reading about some killer mermaids, but hopefully these ones will be a little bit nicer. But it'll be fun to learn more about the legends behind mermaids. GoodReads recently published a list of anticipated books that were coming out in 2024. On that list, they had a book called History of the World in 12 Shipwrecks. It is a nonfiction, from what it appears, and it is available through Libby. I can't remember if it was an audiobook or an ebook, but this was available, and it fits the nautical theme. And if I'm not sick of shipwrecks, then I can pick this one up. I already have some nonfiction about shipwrecks, so I don't know if I'm gonna get sick of that. I don't think it's gonna make me nervous before my cruise. I'll tell you that much. I don't know if I wanna read about a shipwreck on the cruise though. We'll figure it out. We'll go with the mood. But History of the World in 12 Shipwrecks sounded really fascinating and gives you maybe some more historical perspective in the nautical setting. So maybe I'll pick that up in May. Did I miss any nautical themed books that you have read that you love? Please drop that in the comments down below. I'm also going to be doing a video in May for nautical book recommendations, books that I have read that I recommend to you for their nautical vibes. So there's some that I have already read, but for my TBR, I could always add more. And for the cruise, I think I will only take my headphones for audiobooks and my Kindle for ebooks. I'm not going to take any physical books because I don't want to lug them around. I don't want them to get damaged. So those physical books I won't be taking with me, but particularly if I can check them out from Libby and read them those ways, that will be perfect, because lounging on the beach or by the pool, or last cruise I was on, there was like a champagne bar that I spent some time in. But also, I don't know how much reading I'm gonna do on this vacation. I'm gonna be going on ATV rides, exploring waterfalls. There's like a monkey excursion thing I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be snorkeling with sea turtles, swimming with the pigs in the Bahamas. Have you heard of that? I'm gonna do that. So there's gonna be a lot of socializing and eating all the food. Oh my gosh, the unlimited food. I love cruise food. I always try new things, and yeah, my priority is just gonna be live life, be in the moment. So I don't know how many of these I'm gonna read. I make no promises other than the classics reading vlog. That will be a dedicated video. And other than that, it's just gonna be, a lot of my videos are gonna be vlog style. So whatever I read in that time period is what I will review and talk about. Otherwise, you're just gonna see some of this other stuff. I'm going to do a cruise vlog, so you're gonna see all this fun stuff. The books I'm reading during that time, whether I finish them or not. Like, that's the style of videos that you're gonna see on Jack in the Book Stack in the month of May. And I am so excited. I love a theme. Nothing ignites my soul more than a good theme. So thank you so much for hanging out with me in this video. I'm looking forward to your comments on other nautical recommendations, and also your opinions on cruising. So be sure that you commented those down below, and bon voyage.